And just like life, sometimes you get lost and you don't know which words you're supposed to sing, but there are people singing beautifully complicated rhythms and you just try to back them up. Life as improv. We'll be talking more about that in a sermon on jazz coming up in a few weeks. I'm Vanessa, Southern. It's lovely to see you all here. It's lovely to have you all joining from your homes. If you are here for the first time, a special welcome. We're glad to have you with us, wherever you are. And if you want to continue to get connected or find out more about the congregation, there are these connection forms, either online or in the pew in front of you. And you just fill them out, and we'll send you every Wednesday a weekly newsletter that talks about what's going on in the congregation. And Friday, you will get the reminder of Sunday service with a live stream link if you need it, and a copy of the order of service if you want a preview of coming events. So please fill those out and let us know if there's any other way we can support you. Glad to have you here. The order of service, as you can see, lists all kinds of upcoming events. So a few just to name. This morning and the first Sunday of every month are BIPOC community gathers in hybrid. So some folks here and some people joining remotely. So please put that on your calendar if you are someone who would like to join that community. If you're a BIPOC member or visitor, we'd love to have you get connected. There's a retreat coming up in July that they're planning, so lots of great moments for deepening together. There is a newcomer orientation this Sunday after service in the fireside room. Is that correct? Yes, okay. Fireside room. You can ask people where it is, but basically if you see this big rounded building in the courtyard, that's our chapel. And right across that is the fireside room. So you can either cut through and kind of go past the chapel, or you can swing long way around the hallways. And if you get lost, ask someone with a name tag. They should be able to tell you how to get there. And they might even escort you, which would be lovely. So look at all the other events, book clubs, the forum, the last of John's history course is this week, right, JB? So if you're interested in that, that man with the red sweater can get you a link, because he's going to be talking about his book, The History of the Congregation, which is for sale also. And it's amazing, amazing vision on this congregation, but also San Francisco. I believe, Cheryl, you had an announcement? Okay.
Hi, all of you. How many? Okay, can you hear me? How many of you have been to the retreat? Oh, good, I'll need your help. And we could sure use a clown. Is Poindexter anywhere? Well, get down here, because we're talking about the all-church retreat. You have to stay on the mic on the live stream. People can't hear. Okay. Come on down. Woo!
I feel like I'm running for something.
You are running for something.
Well, we thought we'd tell you just how fun the retreat is. One of my favorite things about it is the fireside singing that we do. And when they can have it, when there's good weather, we have it outside. But even in a pinch, when it rained one year, we did s'mores in the fireplace in the big lodge. That's one of my favorite things, is everyone singing together and having a good time by the fire.
And I like playing games into the night with a little vino. Ooh. And the swimming pool. And there's one thing I really like, the talent show. And one of the fun things in the talent show is the beaver call. Who knows the beaver call? Woo!
And then one other thing, they always have telescopes so that you can see the stars and the moons and the planets. And it's just wonderful up there where you can actually see the stars at night in Sonoma amongst all the redwoods and sequoias. There's also an outdoor chapel that's just one of the most calming places I've ever seen.
And there's lots of fun between the generations. It's not just old, it's not just young, it's everything and in between. So let's go all. Let's go with the beaver call. See you there.
See you at the retreat.
Registration stops on the 15th, so get your registrations in.
That's right, registration is the 15th. And I will say that my husband and daughter, when they heard about this, planned to come for a day, and then they had an excuse to leave that they were grateful for, because they're not people who go to these sorts of things. But I would just like you to know that after the first day, they were sad that they had an excuse. It's really just a lovely time, and spacious and gorgeous, and workshops and all the things that Dennis and Cheryl just mentioned. So come and sign up. I have two last announcements. One is just to let folks know that what we hear is that the banners that we designed have finally got a permit, and that they're going to go up early this week, right, Dolores? That's what we've heard? So it's going to happen very early in the morning when there's no traffic. So we're going to try and capture it on video, and then you'll get to see them. I hope next week, so everybody cross their fingers. We also want to thank the 190 households who have pledged so far. That's fantastic. We're incredibly grateful. We have over $683,000 raised, which is great, and 47 households who I think need to find where that mailing was on their coffee table, and or just find the link online, which is super easy to find at the website of the church, and fill it out. We are determined in this community to continue the strong programming, to continue to keep the building welcoming to us and all the other groups that use it, including the young women's choir that will be having their celebration today, which is why we've given over the space in particular ways to make their time here joyful. All the ways that we build community as institutions, for which I think there are fewer and fewer that make space available, and certainly with as wide an embrace as we do, and a long history of that. And so that's a piece of our ministry that we continue to be committed to, and being equitable employers. And the denomination has changed some of the expectations in ways I think are legitimate, and we're trying to meet that bar. And we're keeping the ask and the goal this year at the same as last year, which is a sleight of hand and a miracle. But we're doing a lot and trying to do it very responsibly. So thank you all. By noon today, we need to have pledges in, because we need to present to the congregation a budget that is balanced. So if we don't see pledges in, we will be proposing cuts that you will all vote on at the budget meeting. And you'll get a mailing about that too. So your pledges matter. They always do, in good times and in bad times. Pete's Coffee will not be there for us when the world is falling apart, or some of the laws are passed as they're being passed right now in our country, to put the death penalty on women who get abortions, to take trans children away from their families, and in our own city, some of the things that we need to continue to stand up for, as well as just when life deals us a hard hand, and the joyful times that we get to celebrate on an ongoing basis. So thank you for making all of that possible, everybody. Our offering, in the spirit of what we make possible, I keep meaning to present a report that I run out of time to present, so let me just tell you that last church year, we raised $24,000 to give away from our plate offerings. This year, through April 9th, which is where we're up to speed with all of our counting, we have raised over $26,000 to give away. I remind you, we are a 300-member church. I just think sometimes we think of ourselves as smaller than we are, and our capabilities as smaller than they are, and we need to be reminded of just how much power we have in the world and that we exercise in the world. And all of these organizations know, when we take it as an offering, that the Unitarian Universalist Society of San Francisco stands behind them, which is a much more powerful, muscular vote of support for them as institutions. So this week, we're taking for the second time an offering. So we took one last year for the Black Women's Health Imperative. I encourage you to read about it. I'm sure you have seen, as I have, we know the inequities in health based on race, but I'm sure many of you saw that there was a new study that studied decades of births in California and found the richest Black mothers and their babies were twice as likely to die from childbirth in childbirth as the richest white mothers and their babies. So earning more and being better educated doesn't protect Black families from what is clearly the legacy of racism as it shows up in our healthcare system. And the articles talk about all kinds of other studies, like one from Pennsylvania that found that new mothers who are Black are significantly more likely to be tested for drugs than white mothers, even though white mothers are more likely to test positive. And the stories of inequity in treatment that make medical care less welcoming go on. And it is in the face of this that the Black Women's Health Initiative, started by Black women, largely run by Black women, was begun to advocate for change and educate healthcare supporters. And we are part of that, thanks to the Hamner family who introduced it to us 2 years ago. So last year in November, when we took the offering for this group, we raised $1,275 for them. It was one of our largest Sunday offerings. So thank you all for that. And this morning, I want you to know in advance that that is where our offering will go to support the Black Women's Health Initiative. And I'm proud of us standing behind them, as I know you guys are, as it speaks to our values in the world and what it means to dismantle racism in nuts and bolts ways. So with that, all of our brief announcements are over, and let's greet one another, but briefly, and then we'll come back into making worship together. Thank you.